barbecue. Grab a beverage or two and settle in this is the morning tailgate on RaiderNation Radio 920, the flagship for the silver and black. Vince Sapienza, Vinny Bonsignor, Clay Baker, coming to you live from Las Vegas. Here on a Thursday, August 13, 2026, and for the first time, happy game day, Raider Nation. We're back. There is a football game to be played at Allegiant Stadium. The Raiders taking on another team, another jersey, another name in the form of the Arizona Cardinals as they begin their march and their formation of what they will become this regular season. Starts tonight. And you can miss me. I'm just going to say it now. Vinny and Clay, I'm going to say it.
Say it.
You can miss me with all the don't care about preseason. We're caring about preseason today. We're caring about exhibition game number 1 in a big way. So if you want to, we love the interaction. We love the calls. We want to have them today. But you can miss us with all that. It doesn't matter. It matters today. Because it's here. And we've been waiting for months just to get to this point. And then next week, it'll be the next one. And the next one until the regular season. But today, this is our day.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this, Vince. The outcome doesn't matter. The outcome, the score does not matter. Let's be clear with that. But if anyone thinks that there's nothing important about what's going to happen tonight at Allegiant Stadium and across stadiums across the NFL this weekend, we have a lot of history to go on of guys that flashed, guys that, I don't know about that. You know, this is an opportunity for guys to get on the football field and for, you know, whether you play your first team offense and get them some reps together or likewise on the defense, it does matter. The score won't matter. That I'll give you, and I think we could all agree on that. But there's things that are going to happen tonight. There's things that we're going to see tonight that are going to bode well for the future, give us a glimpse of somebody like a Malik Benson or somebody. You know, Nate Hobbs a few years ago, nobody knew who Nate Hobbs was, and then he flashed in the preseason of his first year and has gone on to have a nice career for himself. I'm not saying he's a star player, but for a fifth-round pick, he's been a success story, right? Remember when we saw Nate Hobbs, we saw him at practice for the first time. We're like, okay, who's that? And then saw him do things in the game that foretold what was going to happen in terms of making the team and making an impact and being a good football player. And he's one of many, many. Derek Carr won the quarterback job his rookie year because of the preseason. So don't tell me that it doesn't matter. It absolutely matters. The score I could care less about.
There's so many things to watch that you've been waiting for to see with the influx of talent. And, of course, with a new coach and scheme, what's it going to look like at several position groups? And, I mean, for me, just to see what the offensive line will look like in whatever iteration, can I find some sort of improvement from last year? Little stuff like that. It goes a long way, but every position group can be graded the same way. Are we seeing progress even in the first preseason game?
And here's the
Vince,
other part.
let me ask you something real quick, Vince, about that offensive line. And I've been meaning to ask you this question. So, Clay just brought it up, so I want to ask you this. There wasn't one time while I was out there, and again, we'll be out in Houston next week, that maybe that picture changes a little bit. But anyway, there wasn't one time, and I want to ask you if there's been any times for you, as you were as you've observed this offensive line during training camp, where you're like, ooh, that's not going to look very good. Because, to be quite honest, and go back and look at all the stories we wrote about and how many times we referenced it on the radio show, where we did express concern about the offensive line, just watching them in training camp, and then obviously you saw what happened in the games. I didn't find myself. I'm not saying that they dominated. I'm not saying they won every single rep. But there was never a time while I was out there last week that I was like, oh, boy, more of the same. And I've found myself doing that the last few years. I did not do that while I was out there, and I'd be very shocked if we were saying the same thing about this offensive line that we've said the last few years.
Colton Miller, healthy in training camp, showed. Tyler Linderbaum's presence was felt.
Yes.
Spencer Burford, I don't know what he's going to be for this team. What I do know is it feels like he is a perfect fit for what this team needs at this particular juncture.
A cog a cog in the offensive line in a group of 5 is what he is, I think, right? Is that
left side is as rock solid for me as it's been in years for the Raiders. Now, you want to get into the rotation at right guard? We can.
Yep.
I think Jackson Powers-Johnson has been fine.
Yep.
I also believe Jackson Powers-Johnson is at full force when the game is live. That's the other part. Like, you can get a little bit, seeing him every day at training camp, but I want to see it now. He's in year 3, right? The peaks and valleys and the highs and lows, the inconsistency that he's gone through. When it's high, it's really good. Yeah, I mean, he's a mauler. When it's bad, he's on his back from time to time. And more bluntly, he's not even on the field.
That's been the big, to me, that's because it's just hard to really get a full gauge when you're just not playing a lot. Like those ups and downs can even out if you're out there for a long period of time, right? Sometimes it could go the other way. We get that. We understand that. And maybe it will. But it's hard when you're not out there consistently to really get a body of work. We've not seen him from beginning to end in any of his seasons with the Raiders yet. It's been a beginning and then a long, all right, he's not out there. What are you going to do? He's hurt, and unfortunately for him, and that's not his fault whatsoever.
And then it's a ramp-up period to getting back, and then it's finding his form, and then he's out again. Yeah, so it's again.
There's no body of work, consistent body of work.
So what I have seen from a JPJ, despite the rotation with Caleb Rogers, has been good. That being said, Caleb Rogers has looked very good as well. There's a reason for that, I believe. DJ Glaze, there was a lot throughout training camp, scattered a bit about, ooh, man, is DJ Glaze having a tough camp? And my argument watching every day is no. Max Crosby is just that damn good. And he's going
to win some reps.
And he's going to win a lot of reps because he's Max Crosby. But at the same time, that's not to say DJ Glaze is just a shell of himself. He needs to be better than he was last year. He talked about that himself a few days ago when he stepped to the podium, Clay. Again, the days are running. I think it was last week. But he goes, I know I didn't have a good season. We didn't have a good season as an offensive line. Similar to what JPJ has said, Colton Miller, those 3 in particular, they've all said the same thing. The coaching has been a breath of fresh air is how it's been described. It has been a different teaching method coming from different places on that staff. So as much as I and we give Rick Dennison all the love and credit, rightfully so, I believe, his staff, his other 3 guys that are on his O-line staff, his assistants, every single offensive lineman, name them by name, crediting them for how they teach and the work that's being put in. We didn't hear any of that kind of conversation at any point last year, let alone training camp at the start of everything.
Yeah, not only that, but it's obvious that there's synergy between the head coach, who's really the mastermind of the offense, the offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach lieutenants, and that was never the case last year. Unfortunately, it was just kind of it was sort of a botched thing that happened last year. But last year. What we're pointing out is that synergy that you need, the dialect that runs rampant and in unison from the coaches exists this year in a major way. So I would fully expect all of the positives of that to be reflected in how, whether you're talking about the entire offense or just the offensive line, to play in much more unison. Because, to be honest with you, last year it felt like that offensive line at time where it was, you ever see a band, like a marching band that's out of order and all that? You're like, oh boy, where the trumpet player's going this way and the flutist is turning that way and they're bumping into each other. It was like, it was, that's what it was. I mean, it wasn't always that blatant, but those who knew and know could look at it and see, these guys are a bunch of individualists, unfortunately, because the message, whatever, the coaching, it just wasn't up to par, and that's going to change, it already has, in a major way this year. And for that reason, I think that offensive line is going to look, it's going to look much more like a we than a me.
And again, I'll say it because the players have said it. The coaching is different. they feel different. They feel
Right.
like they have the answers to the test. That I can't say it any more bluntly than that. Talking with the offensive linemen over the course of the last couple weeks, they feel like they have the answers for the test. And they feel like when they make a mistake, they feel like they're not going to get buried in the dirt. Take that for what it is. That is the conversation coming out of it. And the other part of this, Clay, is Rick Dennison worked for 2 decades with Gary Kubiak through multiple stints with 3 different franchises. Last few years, he's been with Clint Kubiak. To say they're on the same page is an understatement at best. So when we're looking at last year, and we are looking at last year, they gave up the most sacks in the NFL, and they were 32nd in rushing, right? We have talked about everything about this Raiders team starts with the offensive line.
It has to.
The reason why, and this is a long way to answer your initial question, Vinny, the reason I have so much confidence, I don't know what the ultimate talent of all these players are on the roster, but I know what the book is on the guys who are teaching them the book. Because it has been passed down literally from generation to generation, and the common thread of that is Rick Dennison, the offensive line coach, of what he is bringing. And if there was ever a person that can bring this offensive line to life, I believe they are here in Las Vegas with the Raiders.
Resurrection.
Yeah. It's because they've done it before, right? That basically is what you're saying. They've done it before over and over. Look, how many offensive linemen can you name of the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah.
Trey Zabel or Gray Zabel,
That's
Clemens.
We can stop there.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to know they don't have to be. These guys are there's talent. There is talent, and JPJ is immensely talented. Colton Miller speaks for itself. He's one of the best in the business. Tyler Linderbaum is one of the best in the business at his position. I think DJ Glaze is going to be fine. I love. Whatever happens at right guard, Caleb Rogers is a player to keep an eye on, for the future. So, you don't have to. They don't have to be all these star players along the offensive line. They just have to be well coached and in sync, and understand what they do. And look, let's hope for the Raiders, and I believe that this will be the case, that this is a staff that stays intact. For a number of years, because that makes all the difference in the world as well. Yeah, you're going to have your guys leave and move on to greener pastures if they've earned that. But with Clint Kubiak being the sole voice or the primary voice of the offense, he's not going anywhere if there's success. He's going to stay right here, and that'll always turn over in a right way with a like-minded coaches that he hires to fill whatever positions he needs to fill. And you know who comes to mind when I think about that? DeCamerion Richardson. We've been talking about DeCamerion Richardson, right? He's been playing well in training camp. Would that be a correct assessment, Vince?
He has flashed in very positive ways. His aggressiveness in particular.
You know what DeCamerion has this year that he didn't have last year? The same coach. His rookie year to his second year, it was a completely different coach, and it was a new system. This guy was a rookie, 2 years ago, and all of a sudden they changed, his position coach going into last year. Well, that position coach is still here with him this year, and you can tell, and I know this just talking, about. That's made a huge difference for DeCamerion Richardson. He knows what he's doing. He has the same coach. It's basically the same, outlook for what they're doing in the defensive backfield. So there's familiarity with that coach and what they're trying to do. And it's made a big difference for DeCamerion Richardson. Not only does coaching matter, but a lot of times coaching consistency matters. And the message, the consistency of the message of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve and how you're trying to go about it also makes a huge difference. So hopefully moving forward, and I can't even envision a scenario where this wouldn't be the case, is that this time next year we're talking about this offensive line, A, showing great progress this year, but B, going into another year with Rick Dennison as the offensive line coach and Clint Kubiak as the architect of this offense, because that matters, and we have not seen that here in Las Vegas for multiple years now, and has done a disservice, quite honestly, to a lot of young players that whose heads have been swimming because of all these changes.
And it's been 15 minutes since the start of the show, and we have yet to bring up Fernando Mendoza.
Well, here we go.
Let's do it.
Here we go. There's only one real way to bring up a Fernando Mendoza on the first game day of 2026.
On the Vegas sky, the lights are burning bright.
Fernando.
Silver echoes roll through the night. They're calling your name, you know. From the stands comes a roar. The black holes crying out for more. They believe you'll lead the way. The chosen one, we pray. Raider!
Man, that hits every single time.
Woo!
You know, we haven't run this song in a while. It's been, the offseason's been long. But I immediately, after not thinking about that unbelievable bar for months, when Fernando took the field at the open practice last night or 2 nights ago on Tuesday, that is what I heard. You heard the crowd roar, and then I was like, man, wait till Thursday. Wait till the first time he drops an absolute dime. Wait till the first time he scrambles and gets out a little bit of chaos. I mean, Raider Nation's going to go berserk. And so, as it is a game day, and we knew this day would come, there's only really one question for today. And we can talk as much about the entirety of the totality of preseason game number 1. But how much are we seeing of Fernando tonight? How much do you want to see of Fernando Mendoza tonight? What do you think the quarterback split will look like? How do you think it will play out? Do you think Fernando is going to get some run with the ones in terms of the offensive line a little bit before the twos come in? How do you think it's going to play out? What would you like? What would be your perfect scenario? This past week, we've been asking all our guests on the program, if we could give you Clint Kubiak's whistle and script and you had all the magic to make the decisions, how much would you play him? How would you play him? How many reps, et cetera, et cetera? We want to hear from you. It's game day, Raider Nation. Today is your day. We need to wake them up here on the morning tailgate and get fired up because Allegiant Stadium, preseason or not, is going to feel alive tonight, and I am here for it. I am excited for it. I can't wait.
Yeah, and I think probably a good model would be, Carson Beck. What did he throw? 19 passes. I don't remember exactly how much he played, but I don't think he started. Did he? Did Carson start that game, or was it?
Carson Beck did start, I believe.
Okay, so he played. Bottom line, and I don't know, who's gonna. I would imagine Kirk's gonna start tonight. That seems like that's what Clint proposed. When he said that the starters are gonna play a little bit, but in terms of volume, that I would look at that. And I would hope that would be the case for Fernando, that he gets to throw the ball about 20 times. When he gets in there and gets a good chunk of the action and is able to do some things. I think it's important because we don't know after the preseason when he's going to actually be on the field again. I do believe Kirk is going to be the starter, and that could go a couple of different ways. And hopefully for the Raiders, they go on a run, and it is a little while before we see Fernando Mendoza. That means that the Raiders would be winning and Kirk's playing really well, which is a great situation to be dealing with. So as in the preseason, I would think that it behooves the Raiders to get him out there, not for a full game or anything like that, but for a good chunk and let him do his thing and give him some real reps, not just handing the ball off, but actually doing something with those reps with his arm.
Carson Beck played the entire first half of the Hall of Fame game and the first series of the third.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Cardinals coaching staff probably want to say, hey, let's make a couple adjustments. Let's see how he handles what a halftime adjustment might look like. That'd be an interesting, obviously, evaluation.
I would like to see that.
Fernando.
I would like to see that.
Again, this is just pure speculation because Clint Kubiak has kept it close to the vest. It feels like, if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, and I've been wrong before, but it feels like 2 drives for Kirk Cousins in the ones before Fernando comes in, unless that first drive is pristine, over 7-8 plays. And it ends in points, that might be the end of his day. But if it's a quick first series, you might get Kirk one more. Then Fernando comes out, closes out the show in the first half, and then again probably see a little, maybe one drive in the third before AOC comes in, and maybe we get maybe we get the back half of the fourth with a Jacob Clark.
Meaningful snaps.
Maybe.
That's good.
That's how in my mind, I see it playing out. But again, Kubiak has not really divulged. He just keeps saying starters are going to play throughout the preseason, right? And I like that. I personally like that. But we want to hear from you. 702-365-9200 is the number. How much of Fernando are we seeing tonight? How much do you want to see? What would you do in terms of throwing him out there? The quarterback split, Kirk Cousins, Fernando Mendoza, AOC. 702-365-9200. The voice of the Raiders, Jason Horowitz, on the call tonight. We will hear from him coming up in hour number 2 at 8 a.m. Case Keefer, the Las Vegas Sun, hour number 3. But until then, phone lines, they better be alive and well today. It's a game day, nation. Let's wake up with the morning tailgate. But first.
Hey guys, are you craving real Mexican food that's been doing it right for generations? Then it's time for Sal's Mexican Restaurant, a Central Valley tradition since 1942. We're talking about the kind of food that keeps people coming back. Stacked burritos, sizzling fajitas, legendary enchiladas, and those award-winning tamales that everybody's talking about. And here's the great part. Whether you're in Selma, Madera, or Fresno, Sal's has a location for you. And if you're not in any of those cities, you can still have access to Sal's, which I'll explain in just 1 second. Look, Raider Nation, listen up. Sal's is all about the silver and black. Game day, fight night, anytime. This is your spot. But if you can't make it in, no problem. You could go get Sal's delivered straight to you wherever you are. All you got to do is go to salsmexicanrestaurant.com. That's salsmexicanrestaurant.com and place your order right now. They'll deliver it to you wherever you are. Don't wait. Don't settle. Sal's Mexican Restaurant. Tradition, flavor, and Raider pride served up fresh every single day.
Fans are awesome. They're crazy. I didn't understand, the Raiders, mantra and culture, being from, growing up in the East Coast in Miami. And I got to then understand, a portion of it when I was at Berkeley, because Berkeley's right next to Oakland, and a lot of my teammates in Berkeley were, diehard Raiders fans, and just being around Oakland, getting to experience the Raiders. I'm like, okay, these guys are crazy. And then now, being in Las Vegas and, interacting with a lot more Raiders fans, being a part of the Raiders organization, it's been such a blessing. And whether people, whatever they have to say about the Raiders organization, I know whenever I go to a fight every single Sunday, I know I want the people who are going to ride and die. And those are what the Raiders fans and Raiders culture has portrayed to me so far. So
let's go. When I go to fight, he says. When I go to fight for this franchise on Sunday, I want the nation on my back. That's Fernando. That's the Mandalorian. That is the future of the silver and black. Welcome back inside the morning tailgate. We're fired up here on a game day. This is how we feel on the first preseason game. Can you imagine that opener? Sunday against Miami.
Delirium.
I don't even look ahead. We're in the here and the now, Clay. 702-365-9200. What do you think this quarterback split is going to look like tonight? What would you like to see if you got to call the shots? How much Fernando are we seeing? When are we seeing him? And a bonus question, what's the headline tomorrow we're talking about? 702-365-9200. Go ahead, Vinny.
No, my advice to Fernando is in that fight, stand behind the big guys. Just stand behind the big guys. You don't need to be smart. You don't need to be throwing any punches. We're not gonna ever question your toughness. So be smart. And that's even when you're running the ball. Go out of bounds from time to time. Slide. Learn to slide. All of those things. The Raiders need you on the field when you're out there. They don't need you watching from the sidelines. Because you were trying to be a tough guy. Don't need that whatsoever. There's plenty of tough guys that got your back on that team. I think Dan Orlovsky just said it best, as he was talking about Fernando Mendoza. I think what you want to see tonight is for it to look pretty easy for Fernando Mendoza, right? Look like he's in command. It's not overthinking it or deer in the headlights or, just looking lost out there. If he can come out of this game, making it look relatively easy, like he's in his element and this is just the next step along the way. And then it's not 100 miles away from him, that he's right where he needs to be. Then that'll be a win-win for the Raiders tonight.
Is that what we're going to be talking about tomorrow? Man, Fernando made that look easy. What a way to wake up to tomorrow, if that were be the case. You said he needs to learn to slide. Good advice. Let's slide into the phones, shall we? Kenny and Henderson joining us here in the Morning Tailgate. Good morning. Welcome. How much Fernando are we seeing tonight?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I would love to see Kirk Cousins do a first series or two, and that puts Fernando in for the remainder of the first quarter with the number ones, and when they switch them out to the twos in the second and go into the third quarter. But not to get too much off base, I've been a Raiders fan for over 60 years, man. These last 20 to 25 years have been very, very painful. I think we finally turned a corner with Spytek and Clint Kobiak. I am so fired up right now. I haven't been this fired up since the great John Madden and Kenny the Snake Stabler have been on the team when Kenny would go to the defense. Hey, guys, get me the ball back one more time. Take that ball down, score a touchdown, win the games, get the excitement with the team and the players. Everybody gets fired up. I expect our players to bring fire to this game every snap, every time they touch the ball, and we will get there. We will get there, guys. Us fans, we got to fill that stadium. We got to show our home field advantage to our players. They deserve this. Let's go play some football. Raiders!
Whoa.
Love it.
Kenny and Henderson.
Wow, the mild-mannered Kenny and Henderson.
Bringing the heat. That switch flipped before our eyes.
Whoa.
Pace yourself. It's a long time to what time is kickoff tonight?
5 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, pace yourself. Pace yourself, buddy.
And
I know
Raiders
he'll have it,
pregame
though.
begins
I
at
know.
3. Q begins it at noon, live from the Torch. So, yeah, there's plenty of time to put it in. But I like where this is going. I'd like to see Kenny at work today. Sitting next to Kenny, see how fired up he gets. Who wants a stapler?
Let's see
Just
if
don't throw it.
Let's see
Just
if
don't throw an outright with the stapler.
Let's see if Juan in Las Vegas can equal and bring the heat. Good morning. Welcome to the tailgate. How much Fernando are we seeing tonight?
Gentlemen, good morning. Happy game day. This is better than Christmas, man. This is way better than Christmas. I am excited for today. Look, if I had it my way, if I had the whistle like you guys mentioned, I'm looking at Kirk right now and going, hey, let's just get ready for Houston. We're going to give the kid the whole first half. We're going to give him the whole first half. We'll give Aiden the third. We'll give Jacob Clark the fourth, and then we move on to Houston. What I'm more excited about is Fernando's Fernando. I get that. He's been on the team since January when he won the national championship back in Miami. He's been on the Raiders team since then. I'm excited for the rest of this draft class. I want to see Trey Zoom play center today. I want to see Trey Zoom play guard, a little bit of right tackle. I want to see our new secondary active, alive. I'm ready to see Malik Benson. Let's see what he's really got now that the game is live. I'm ready to go. And the headline for me tomorrow, Jermod McCoy, steal of the draft for the Raiders. That's right. I believe in him. Jermod McCoy. I want to see in the Las Vegas Review-Journal, thank you, Buffalo, for passing up, for allowing us to trade up to get him. That is going to be my headline for tomorrow. Let's freaking go, baby. Raiders!
A dynamite!
Juan in Las Vegas.
This is
I love
great.
The headline. Love the headline. Today's obviously going to be a big Fernando Mendoza. That's going to be on the marquee, obviously, in terms of storylines, right, Vinny and Clay? But man, if the real McCoy could come up with
Steal the
What a
show.
moment for him.
Couple
Yeah.
of
What a moment.
PBUs.
Yeah, what a moment for him after going through everything that he's gone through, and the long wait of
20
actually
months.
playing.
20
Yeah,
months.
exactly, and what makes it pull on the heartstrings a little bit for me is that he was playing so good at Tennessee at the time of the injury. Like, this guy was on his way to being the whole world opening up for him in a way that he had worked really hard to get and had earned, right? And then the unfortunate injury, and it's really thrown a curveball in his life, but he's handled it beautifully. He's handled it well, and I'm really happy for him that he's going to be able to strap it on again, hopefully for a long time. And tonight's just the start of that. But just being able to go into a locker room, put the uniform on with your teammates, and go run through that tunnel and go play in an actual game, albeit it is the preseason, but nevertheless the points taken is just a big monumental moment for him, and I'm super happy for him.
I love this. I love everything about today. We got full lines, Vinny and Clay. We got the Raider Nation back. Feels like we got them back. They never left, but it feels like they were just waiting for this, waiting to get back in it. Full lines, full hearts. Let's get back out to the phones. Lance in Houston, welcome to the tailgate. What do you got for us?
Good morning, gentlemen. I love the tailgate. Super excited tonight. Kubiak's had a plan this whole time. He'll have a good plan for Fernando tonight and this entire team. But Vinny, I had to call in. I called in a couple weeks ago. The commenters were at it again last night. Last time I called in, I made the case. Bringing in Kirk was such a smart move with his PhD level understanding of this offense to help Kubiak fast track his system. However, seeing people say that Kirk is somehow in another stratosphere from Fernando is crazy talk. There is no way a rookie can learn 15 years of NFL game experience in one season. I'll grant you that. But, and it's a big but, there's more to being a quarterback than just knowledge of the game. And while Kirk seems to be healthier than he was, he isn't even close to Fernando in terms of athleticism. And once that red jersey comes off, that's going to be magnified. And so, Fernando has a clear advantage on Kirk when it comes to athleticism. And what is Fernando's greatest superpower? Besides his clutch gene, which is incredible, maniacal preparation. Like, Fernando doesn't have the 15 years of NFL experience, but what he does have is an elite mind and preparation. This kid is going to be prepared and will be able to execute this offense, period, full stop, right? And so, listen, and if Kirk was somehow in some miles and miles ahead in another stratosphere, he would have been one of the hottest free agent quarterback targets last offseason, and Fernando wouldn't have been the no-doubt number one overall pick. And let's put this bed, this worry about Fernando somehow being fragile. This kid was a two-star D1 recruit. He goes to Cal for his life, if you've watched that tape. Then he goes to Indiana, has a rough spring. This kid goes off and reels off one of the most impressive performances in college football history. I mean, I have zero, and I mean zero worries that Fernando will be broken. It frustrates me that people confuse kind of the Raiders' patient and intentional approach with Fernando with some sort of lack of faith in just how truly special this young man is. So, Vinny, keep fighting the fight on this QB situation. Gentlemen, you rock. Raider Nation, we're back. Just win, baby.
Lance,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. For anyone really to suggest that this is in another galaxy, which somebody did last night on Twitter, I'm like, that's not the case. And first of all, you'd be worried if that was the case. Fernando's played well in training camp. Yeah, of course he's had rookie moments. Everybody, Kirk's had bad days out there. He hasn't had, it hasn't been perfect for Kirk either. No quarterback ever is in training camp. It's just, you got guys that are trying to win jobs on the other side, guys are really good on the other side, and 10 defenses and coordinators that are testing you. So, that is the way it goes in training camp. But yeah, I totally push back on that. It's like some vast difference between Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza, because it isn't, not through my eyes anyway.
Raider Mark in Henderson, welcome to the tailgate. What do you got? Happy game day.
Hey, happy game day. Back-to-back calls, right?
Yeah, sir.
Hey, guys. Hey, Vinny, I'm on the same page as you, man. Get Kirk Cousins, 2 series, get him out of there, and then start Mendoza all the way to the fourth quarter, guys. Let him run to fourth quarter. You got to see him play, because he's going to be the future of the franchise. And we already seen AOC for the last couple of years, so get him in the fourth quarter, and then the fourth quarterback maybe next game, and then go from there. And then I got the headlines for you guys, man. Oh, real quick, Michael Robinson, NFL Network, said he's going to start week 1, Mendoza, to Miami.
Uh-oh.
That's his prediction. But
And
The
he was
headlines
there.
tomorrow, man. Huh?
Yeah, he was in Vegas. Michael
yeah.
was there in Henderson watching. So, yep.
Yep. You're right, Vinny. Yeah, that's what he mentioned. And the headlines tomorrow, guys, it's going to be the rookie takeover. Mendoza, 15 for 22 touchdowns, and our new running back, 50-yard touchdown, Washington. And then, all the rookies are going to play well, so it's going to be the rookie takeover. It's going to be headlines tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.
Talk to you guys soon.
All right, Raider Mark.
I love you guys. Y'all, let's go.
Was he getting honked at?
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was getting his steps in, and somebody was trying to make a right turn.
Hey, pedestrians have the right of way, so they need to take it easy.
You honked at the wrong guy.
Yeah, on the wrong phone call.
Right.
How about that? 15 of 20, 2 TDs. Mike Washington Jr., 50-yard scamper to the house.
Rookie takeover.
I love this. Our lines continue to be popping. We're going to get to your phone calls coming up, but right now we got to get to our summer of fun. Just 2 days left. A trip to Hawaii. Flights paid for from LA. 4-night stay in Hawaii. All you got to do is text in the word of the day. The word of the day here on a Thursday, August 13th, 2026 is flight. Flight, F-L-I-G-H-T. Text in flight to 702-365-9200, and you are entered for a chance to win a trip to Hawaii, courtesy of Terribles and your friends right here, Raider Nation Radio 920 AM. It is the morning tailgate, Raider Nation Radio, here on a game day. We're back after this.
A place on our team where we needed a quarterback. So he was the most developed prospect and the best quarterback this year. It was very natural for us to select him.
Welcome back inside the tailgate. That's TB12, Tom Brady talking about one Fernando Mendoza. How many reps? How many plays? How many quarters? How many drives are we going to see from number 15 tonight? What do you think the quarterback split will look like in preseason game number 1 against the Arizona Cardinals? Let's get back out to the phones, squeeze as many as we can in. Jason Horowitz, the voice of the Raiders, set to join us at the top of the hour. Raider Reggie back with us here on the tailgate. No doubt listening to his anthem on repeat this morning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First and foremost, shout out to Raider Nation Radio, man. Y'all kept me going when I had so much pressure on my health and different stuff, and I got through it. Thank God. I feel like everything is on the up. I feel great. Hearing the song this morning really motivate me to call in early. I'm going to call in often. Raider Nation, y'all better get on this line and keep it lit like it is right now. My dogs wouldn't even let me in the room. I had left my phone in the room, and they closed the door. And I'm up here trying to get in. One of them is laying in front of the dang door. I'm like, they going to pick the phone up. But they hyped up too, man. I'm excited. I don't think we got to go crazy with Fernando. We got to be smart no matter what we do. Yes, I think he needs to come out and play. I say, like one of the callers said before, let Cousins get at least 2 series in the first half. Then you let Mendoza finish out that quarter, right? At least get the first quarter done. But I would bring Fernando back at the start of the second half just for that environmental thing, right? And you don't want to keep him in too long, man. And it's not about how fragile he is. It's about these third stringers, fourth stringers, people fighting for a job end up hurting them. And it could happen to the best of them. Why take that chance? But also in the headlines, I feel the same way. The Raider rookies take over, and it's including Mike. Now I can't think of his name.
Mike Washington.
Washington. I think Washington, Manassas. Look at me. I'm so tongue-tied.
Man, you're a really hyped up Zeke Masses.
I'm super hyped, bro. You don't even know. It's just because it's football season. And today we get the tailgate. God blessed us with some good weather. I just hope it don't rain. And I'm coming out as the Silver and Black Panther. Let's go, baby. Raider Nation, stand up. Let's go.
That's Raider Reg. We appreciate you, Raider Reg. Great call, man. He couldn't He can hardly contain himself.
I know.
I love this.
Put the dogs on the phone.
Let's see if we can go out to the hot tub now. Charles in Vegas by way of Oregon. Good morning. Welcome to the tailgate.
Hey, good morning, guys. Let's go. It's game day. I'm so stoked. The one thing that I want to see tonight is a level of, like Spytek said, intelligent aggressiveness. I want to see them cut it loose, not just Fernando, everyone. I want to see a level of, on special teams, on defense, I want to see swarm tackling, a level of not being hesitant, because the past few years at camp and in preseason, I saw a big level of hesitancy, not knowing where I should be or what I should be doing. I don't want to see any of that. What I want to see them do is cut it loose. I want to see Mike Washington burst off the side and score a touchdown. So I want to see that level of aggressiveness from the Raiders. I would love to see Fernando come in, maybe right in that first quarter, and like someone said just a moment ago, maybe bring him back all the way at the beginning of the third quarter. He needs reps. There should be no fear in this game and no fear moving forward. We've got our franchise quarterback. We've got the right coach. Let's get aggressive. And I want to see them, in some instance, punch him in the mouth, man, with some big plays on offense as well. So God bless. You guys have a great day. I'm so stoked to come tonight. Raider Nation, let's go.
Charles in Vegas by way of Oregon. We appreciate you. That's good stuff. I don't disagree with anything. If you're Raider Nation, those are, cast a big net. You want all that. You want all that in the pot tonight and what we're talking about tomorrow. Let's get one more in if we can. Raiders 66. Where have you been?
It's been terrible at work, guys. But got the day off. Got the day off, so it's ready to go. Hey, man, it's been 215 days since the Raiders beat the Chiefs and got that number one pick. And here we go. It's been a very fun-filled and a whirlwind of an offseason. You know, Fernando's not going to wilt, and I'll tell you why. He has got a role model that he's been able to look at his entire life. His mom, with grace and courage, has handled this debilitating illness. He sees that every day. You think third and long or down by 6 with a couple minutes to go is going to faze him when he sees his mom smiling every day in the face of that? No. This guy is mature beyond his years because of that role model, and thank God for his mom. And, hopefully they find a cure and all that kind of stuff. But he is going to be fine. It is not because he is fragile that they're not going to start him. It's because of the nuances that you need to know being recorded. He's got the talent. He could start. But that's the reason you got Cousins. You have that luxury of not having to do it. I think the NFL Network has got a crawl going on that says Kubiak said that Fernando's going to play a lot in this game. So whatever that means, that's going to happen. The highlight, I know you guys are pressed for time. The headline, I love alliteration. Raiders rookies roll. Here we go. Time to get started. Coming back. Thank you guys for the time. Let's have a great day. Great game. Go Raiders.
Raiders rookies roll. Love it. 66. Absolutely love it. And we love you, Nation. That was hour number 1, and you brought it in a big way here on a game day edition of the Morning Tailgate. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. We'll give you a little breather. The voice of the Raiders, Jason Horowitz, set to join us at the top of hour number 2, and then it's back to you. 702-365-9200. It's the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920.
Do your dance, young man.
It is a game day for the Raiders. Vegas, Arizona, Raiders, Cardinals tonight, Allegiant Stadium, 5 p.m. kickoff. What Raiders 66 say? 215 days?
Seems like 1,000.
That's a big number. But it does, yeah, you're right. It does feel like a lot. But I know this isn't the end-all, be-all, Vinny, right? Like tonight is not it is just another piece of the pie. But it feels like a bigger slice, doesn't it? It feels like you did your chores, you made your bed, and you're getting a bigger slice of that pie tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, when you have the first pick overall and it's a quarterback and it's a heralded quarterback, the scope of a Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner, the national champion, somebody whose heroics played out for everybody to see on national TV week after week. It was like a mini series there for a little while, watching him, and then for him to be drafted by the Raiders and for all that to work out. Of course, his debut, his first game, is going to be something that people are excited about. I mean, we've been talking about Fernando Mendoza since since it became clear that the Raiders were headed to the first pick overall. It was pretty much, not that it was a done deal, because John Spytek and everybody else in the building did do their homework, and it wasn't a coronation. And everything that they did led to that decision. But basically, we kind of knew, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a story and a player that Raider fans have been following now for a long time, months and months and months. And to finally get to see him out there in a Raider uniform in a game against another team, it's the first of many, but you can only have that first one, at least in the preseason, and tonight is it. And so, this one feels a little bit bigger than many, many others.
And whether it's a preseason game, regular season game, or what have you, our next guest always makes it the biggest of the moment, the voice of the Raiders on the TV call tonight. Alongside Rich Gannon, Kirk Morrison, the one, the only, Jason Horowitz. Jason, good morning. Did we get the workout in before the radio hit, or is it coming after?
No, it's done. It's done. Just barely.
Just
barely did I get up here before. Although I did ask to play for a 1 minute postponement, so there's that. I hear that we're all in on a Mendoza fourth quarter game today. Is that I've heard that, Vince, right?
I told Jace we had this conversation. I might have gotten ripped apart online for having a take that I wanted to see Mendoza for 4 quarters tonight. That's just me. You don't have to share my opinion. I just threw it out in the ether, wanted to see who would send it back. Quite a few people did, and it is what it is. The question we are asking today, Jace, perfect segue, by the way, is how much Fernando are we going to see? And if I gave you the script from Clint Kubiak to make the decisions, what would the quarterback split look like tonight?
A drive or two for Cousins, 2 quarters for Fernando, last quarter and a half for Aiden O'Connell. And I think... And, look, we're all in on and Fernando, and everyone wants to see him perform well, and we'd all love him to see, to look just like what Carson Beck looked like in the Hall of Fame game. I mean, heck, you put Carson Beck and Keaton Slovis together, they went 24 for 30, not 29 or whatever. I mean, insane numbers, right? So we'd all love to see that, and the crowd would love to see that, and all of that would be amazing. But I just want to see Fernando out there with a flow, with pretty good command. I think, and this is also something I think has been pretty interesting. We were talking with Tyler Linderbaum yesterday. We got a chance to talk to Coach Kubiak and Rob Leonard and Tyler and N'Kobe Dean for a production meeting. And Tyler was saying, one of the great things you can tell about a rookie is that, they are so determined to let a mistake be a one-time thing. And he's like, that is what Fernando prides himself on. And he has really driven that home throughout the course of the preseason. This is, again, according to your Pro Bowl center who you paid to come over here, who's been playing with Lamar Jackson his entire career. And he's like, that's how you can tell who's going to make it in this league, and there's not. And Fernando is all about that. So, look, we've heard all about the preparation. We've all seen the Heisman Trophy season. We all know the smile, the kid, the story, the character, the arm. There's going to be 15 jerseys all over Allegiant Stadium. And you hope he goes out and plays well in his first preseason game and puts on a good show.
You mentioned, Jason, that a couple of series for Kirk Cousins, which means that it'll be a couple of series for that first-team offense and the first-team offensive line. What are you hoping to see, maybe even expecting to see from that first-team offense in their first go?
And if it's a sustainable drive, it may just be one. I know Kirk is going to play, as Clint Kubiak has said, the starters are going to play. I'm guessing a couple throughout the course of the roster who are nicked up or whatever won't, but you're going to see most of the Raiders tonight. And I think, the thing for Kirk Cousins and the ones is that, for me, I don't like Vinny one drive because you don't really get a feel. Like, opening drive is important in an NFL game, but you don't really get into the flow of the game on your first drive, the scripted stuff. I want to see what happens after it's scripted and all those things. Now, it's a little different in preseason because everyone's playing vanilla defense and all those stuff, so who knows what that really is. But I think you need to see Kirk get into a flow with this offensive line. This offensive line, and just because Kirk comes out doesn't mean the offensive line is going to come out, right? There's a battle at right guard. There's, potential battles for who your third tackle is going to be. That doesn't mean your all of your ones on the offensive line are coming out when Kirk comes out. So I think you want to see command against the Cardinals' number one defense, and then get them out of there unscathed. That's the goal.
Where do you put somebody like Max Crosby in this regard when you look at preseason?
Max is still coming off a knee surgery, right? And I know he's been flying around at practice, and obviously everyone saw the headline, and he and Kirk got into it, and they got kicked out of practice for the next day and all that stuff. And so I know he's in on every practice and all those reps. But let's not forget that Max is here in part because of what happened in Baltimore and the knee and all that stuff. So I'm sure Max wants to be out there. I don't know if Max will be out there or not. But for me, the preseason for Max Crosby is nil, not important, right? You're coming off of a knee surgery. Don't worry about it. That's for me.
Jason Horowitz, voice of the Raiders, on the call tonight in TV form in this one tonight. So I have to ask you, you are not a man that shies away from the moment in the slightest. How much extra prep, if that's a fair way to categorize it or not, is there for tonight's game, being that it could be Fernando's first everything?
Well, it's Fernando's first everything. I mean, I guess hypothetically it's not his first touchdown. It's not. I mean, I guess he could go 0 for 17, so it may not be his first completion.
That's what I mean. I'm giving everything out there.
But I think there's the prep for Fernando has been baking for 4 months, longer than that. This team has had the number one pick since January. I would say everyone assumed it was Fernando since March. And then beyond that, now he's been in Las Vegas for 4 months. And so the prep on who Fernando is, what he did, his accolades, his story, is pretty baked into my head. And then once in a while, you'll get a kid who, particularly Horowitz child, who'll be like, hey, have you heard this song? And then all of a sudden they hit play on the radio and it's like, Fernando, and it's like 19 Fernandos.
That's pretty good.
So, there's some of that.
That's pretty good. I don't know how you can work that in, but that feels good.
That's a good influences.
I sent it to Kirk. I think we counted. I think there are 27 Fernandos before the guy takes a breath. I don't even know who sings the song. And
we got to play the Fernando song for Jason that we have. Maybe this is what he needs to hear.
I agree. I think we lost. We'll get it back here in a second. But it is interesting, right? We talk to play-by-play guys all the time about their prep, and there's certain games and there's certain moments, whether it's a milestone, whether it's a first like we have tonight. There's a little extra something. But to his point, this has been baking for some time, as Jason Horowitz is back with us. And Jason, do we need to play that? Clay, do we have that for? I can't remember if we played this.
The lights are burning bright, Fernando. Silver echoes roll through the night. They're calling your name, From the stands comes a roar.
You have played this.
Black holes crying out for more. They believe you'll lead the way. The chosen one, we pray. Raiders.
Was this what you were listening to while working out this morning in prepreration for this interview and tonight's?
No, you never sent it to me.
Clay!
Nobody sent it to me. I wish you did.
Clay!
That's what I'll be listening to the rest of the way.
How is this on me?
I don't take accountability.
Oh, man.
The Fernando thing that I was singing to you, by the way, I'll have to send it. I can never remember who was the person who sings it. But it's funny. The reason I got cut off is that we're Kirk and I during the season stay right across from Allegiant Stadium. So I was looking out the window at Allegiant Stadium, and apparently my phone tried to connect to some satellite. That's good. That's new. Maybe I won't make it to the game tonight if I'm sucked out of space by aliens before the game starts.
We are in Las Vegas, so there's a healthy appetite of that. You know, I got to ask you, because you mentioned that you worked out. You're at the hotel. You mentioned you worked out. Are you like me nowadays, where when I book my hotel, I got to see pictures of the gym, man? I have to. If you're not coming correct with the gym, I'm out on hotels. And I don't care if you're a 5-star hotel. If you don't have a good gym, I'm not about it. So are you? Do you take it that far where I got to find out if they've got that elliptical machine that I need and what I need to get my work in?
Well, I can tell you I'm not using the elliptical machine. So that's what I can tell Vinny. No, I get so bored on the elliptical. The answer to your question is no, because they booked the hotel for us, and I have enjoyed this kind of being our home away from home for the last 4 years during the season and stuff. So, but no, it's sort of. I mean, it's more of like, especially when you're traveling with kids, like, does it have a pool? You know, that's what you want to make sure you have.
Right.
I don't know how often I'm getting into the gym when we're traveling all over the place. But can we go back to Fernando for 1 second? Because this is the thing. So you were asking about, Vince, you were asking about the extra prep. And this is the part that I'm having a little bit harder of a time encompassing into what I want to portray as Kirk, Rich, and I as the Raiders broadcast team for the preseason, is that all of the excitement is there, as it should be, for the future of the franchise. And that is Fernando Mendoza. He's the number 1 pick. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. It's the most excitement there's been around a draft pick. I mean, there's a lot of excitement for Ashton, too. But, like, it's understandably so in a league that thrives on future quarterbacks who can carry a franchise to the Super Bowl. It's all of that. But he's not the starter for now. And barring anything changing, he's not going to be the starter. And so the other part to that I think is interesting is that the fan base, I can't tell if the fan base wants Kirk to succeed and this team to be good and wait on Fernando, or they want Kirk to struggle so you see Fernando earlier. And obviously that's not what we as a broadcast team are conveying. But I also would say this, and watching Kirk in practice and talking to everyone from Tyler Linderbaum to Nakobe Dean to, heck, Rob Leonard facing him in practice, they think Kirk is ready to have a major bounce-back year, right? Kirk Cousins has been around this league a long time. God knows how much money. He's been to 4 Pro Bowls. He's led the league in completion percentage. Like, he is a guy who, if he's back to torn Achilles form, they were 6-1 before he tore his Achilles in Minnesota. If he's back to that form, this team is going to compete to win a lot of games. And I think that'll be an interesting dynamic as the season plays out.
How excited are you about taking a look at this young secondary? I'm imagining guys like Traden Stukes and Jamon McCoy and Zeke Massis are going to get some big run tonight. What are you hoping to see from them?
I think Traden Stukes you're going to see all over the field. Now they've been playing him more at safety and then throwing him down with some nickel as well. But they are so excited about his ability to actually catch the football. You know, be a guy who's going to be a 3, 4, 5 interception guy. Be a guy who's got his hands on the ball. They think he is so good in man coverage that they are so excited to watch Traden Stukes. So I think there's a legitimate, we all know and have talked about it all for training camp, there's a legitimate battle for the number 2 corner spot, right? Eric Stokes has got one side locked down, but who's the other corner? Is it Darian Porter? Is it Hezekiah Massis? You know, will we see more of Jamon McCoy running with the ones? Can he make it up there as part of the plan? And we don't really know what that plan is because nobody has laid it out for us as how they envision Jamon McCoy's longevity going, not just for this season, but the next 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it might be. So that's a legitimate conversation at number 2. But I also think they're starting to develop a legitimate conversation about who's the starting safety next to Jeremy Chin and Taron Johnson. You know, is it Traden Stukes? Is it Isaiah Polamalu? Will all 4 of them be on the field at the same time? You know, because when they go to dime, you usually think of more cornerbacks. But if Traden Stukes and Taron Johnson are that versatile, and Taron's played nickel corner for most of his career, you know, are those 4 safeties, quote unquote, on the field at the same time? Or do you have your 3 corners and 3, you know? So I'm interested as the season plays out to see what that looks like. But I think we're going to see a lot of Traden Stukes as this preseason goes on. And I also think we're going to see a lot of Dalton Johnson, his Arizona teammate, who was the leading tackler and guy who just has a knack for the ball. And Arizona's defensive coordinator, Danny Gonzalez, loved him.
How could Malik Benson kind of show that he is the Raider rookie that people need to keep an eye on today?
Yeah. I think, you know, there's a legitimate conversation for the starting wide receivers in this team. One of the things Clint Kubiak said to us is they are looking to find out who the starting 2 receivers are for this roster and how important these 3 games are with the remaining practices for that. Now he did not elaborate and say, hey, do we have, a starting 1 and we're looking for number 2? Or is he talking about everybody is in play to be the starting 2? And he didn't elaborate on that. But I don't think that changes from the conversation of the competition that they have been talking about at wide receiver and at every position all throughout training camp and really throughout mini camp. So I think Malik Benson is making an impact on this team and on this staff and on this front office. You're seeing it in a lot of different places. We've seen him run with the ones. He's a guy he's been coached by some great college coaches. Heck, he had Nick Saban at Alabama before he retired, and Lou Poy, who was Oregon's offensive coordinator, and all that stuff. Or I'm sorry, Will Stein, who's now at Kentucky. Like, you've got really good offensive college minds who Malik Benson was with, and I think he's going to be utilized, and I think fans are going to enjoy watching him in the preseason.
Jason Horowitz, voice of the Raiders, joining us here on the morning tailgate. Malik Benson has showed out seemingly every single day of training camp, including the open practice. I'm excited to see what that wide receiver rotation for the entirety of the game really looks like tonight. Yeah. But let me ask you this. What's the headline going to be tomorrow?
Before your headline question, I just want to piggyback on the receiver thing.
Okay.
Everyone does, not right today, but as they get closer to game 3, everyone starts breaking down, okay, how many receivers, how many running backs, how many corners, to get to 53-man roster. And every team usually keeps 5 wide receivers. Some keep 6, and it depends who's your best special teams players, right? But if you start doing that and you say, okay, Jalen Naylor, Trey Tucker, Malik Benson, you assume Jack Best, who is that 5th? Right?
Young.
And Derek Young. So what does that mean for Dante Thornton, who's been hurt, right?
Bingo.
The last couple, what does that mean? Or what does that mean for Jack Best, 2nd-round pick last year, right? If Derek Young, again, we don't know any of those answers, and I think it'll play itself out over the course of the next 2 weeks and 3 games. But I think, watch those back-end wide receivers and see if any of them, Brandon Johnson, who had 3 or 4 touchdowns with the Denver Broncos earlier in his career, been around. He made a big play for Aiden O'Connell in the practice the other day at Allegiant Stadium. Some of those guys, people love E.J. Williams. We've heard about EJ and the Clemson. He's got your prototypical NFL body, 6'3", 210. Obviously, the 1 year with Fernando at Indiana, so the chemistry there. But he was, you don't go to Clemson if you're not a high school recruit. He was an All-American. So those type of guys I'm interested to watch here. The headline, listen, the reality here, no matter what, and I mean no matter what, barring an injury tonight to a superstar, the headline tomorrow is Fernando Mendoza blank. Because we all understand that is what people are going to talk about across the board. He's the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. So that is what everyone is going to talk about. They're going to show every highlight and look forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, I completely agree. How fired up in your talks is Clint Kubiak about his first go around as well, and what do you think the staple of a Clint Kubiak team is ultimately going to be? When we get to the end of the season, and maybe some characteristics and some things that you can hang your hat on are really have really emerged by then.
It's interesting, Clint. First of all, we all know he doesn't in person really get fired up to you, so
Yep.
There's that part of it. But he is so matter of fact and straightforward, and frankly, I say brutally honest, which I really very much appreciate. But he has said to Kirk Morrison and myself now a couple of different times, it will unveil itself. The who we are will show itself, and it will. But my gut is you don't bring in Tyler Linderbaum. And unless you plan to be a smash mouth football team, right? You don't do that unless you plan to be. I'm going to run the heck out of this football, and by the time you get to the 3rd and 4th quarter, do you guys still want to stop us? And I think that's what most people anticipate, But that doesn't mean you can't have a star with 100 catches, right? Like I'd have to go back, but like Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker last year only combined for 50-some grabs. You're starting 2 running backs who played, I'd give it 95% of the snaps last year in Seattle. I don't know if that's accurate, but probably something like that. And they only combined for 55 catches. And so what that says to me is you're going to run the ball. You're going to run the heck out of the ball. You're going to find Brock Bowers 100 times, 110 times this year. You're going to see how Jalen Naylor, Trey Tucker develop, and you are hopefully in a close game to wear the other team down in the fourth quarter. And that's what it says to me. And I think this defense is a defense that is going to be a lot better. You know, Rob Leonard's going to do things very differently than Patrick Graham. I think they're going to play things differently. I think he is all about who he is and what he believes in, and that is not going to change. Personnel part of it will change. There's going to be injuries, all those things. That part of it will all change. But I think remember, this defense last year, again, because of the offense and the turnovers and all those things, they weren't very good. The defense wore down every game. But against the run, they gave up like 3.8 yards per carry, which was second best in the NFL. And they are going to stop the run. They're going to they're going to try to keep everything in front of you. And I think there's going to be a team that is going to be a very impressive defense at times and an offense that's going to try to run you into the ground.
Jace, where they got you tonight? We're not going to see you by the hot dog stand up in the press box?
No, you only see Clay by the hot dog stand.
Waiting for you. That's where we get our best talks in, right there at the all beef hot dog station.
We did. By the way, Wrigley Field hot dogs, Chicago-style hot dogs are very good. I don't know the last time you've been to Chicago or Wrigley, but the Chicago-style hot dog with the relish and the mustard and a little bit of ketchup on the side was outstanding. So make that trip for $9.99.
Wait, isn't ketchup a no-no on a Chicago dog? Do I have that right or wrong?
It is. That's why I put it on the side and I kind of hit it so that nobody can see it.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. You put it on the side. Yeah, you're crafty
sly.
there. Yeah,
you're stealthy.
Yeah. I will be up there because I'll do a pregame hit with Q and all those guys before JT and EA and Matt Millen do the radio. So I'll be on the normal pregame show up there in the booth. So I'll see you guys up on 4. But we're in the TV booth, down in the 200 level. So we get the Joe Buck, Troy Aikman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait till you guys see the polos they've got us in. We look like Bear Bryant's hat with the Raiders logo.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. Maybe I'll take a selfie when I see you. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Jason Horowitz.
All I need is a fedora.
You still got time, and there's plenty of places in Vegas. Jason Horowitz, the voice of the Raiders, on the TV call tonight. NFL Network, Fox 5, along with Rich King and Kirko Morrison. Jace, we appreciate you. We'll see you tonight.
See you guys in a few hours.
He didn't seem thrilled about that. What? Was that just me? There was a little, we'll see you in a few hours.
Jason's the kind of guy that likes to get there, not too much time to spare.
I guess now's a good time to.
It just hit him that he's going to be spending time with you, Vince.
Right, I know.
That's
fair. Hey, that's fair, and that is fair. I don't blame him.
What was that all about?
We're gonna have to get to the bottom of that tonight. Reminder: there's a bit of programming changes, right, Clay? Today,
yes.
No JT the Brick because he is on the radio call tonight. So Q Myers will be live from Allegiant Stadium from noon to 3 into the pregame show from 3 to 5, along with Lincoln Kennedy ahead of kickoff, which again set for 5 o'clock. JT on the call for Raider Nation Radio 920. We have a jam-packed day full of silver and black content, getting you set for the preseason opener. 702-365-9200. We're going to open up the phones back up, get to your text messages. We want to hear from you. What does the QB split look like? What and how much does Fernando Mendoza play against the Cardinals? 702-365-9200. But first.
And by the way, I will be on with Q at some point during the pregame show, so looking forward to that. Can't wait for that. Can't wait to see everything out there at Allegiant Stadium tonight and see what the Raiders look like. Hey, guys, have you been saying to yourself, and I know that you are because I did this for many, many years, hey, when it comes to my weight, when it comes to my health and feeling better and doing what I know I should be doing, I'll get to it. I'll start tomorrow. And you keep saying I'll start tomorrow, and tomorrows come and they go and they come and they go, and you haven't gotten started. And you're just wasting your time. Well, here's the thing. You don't have to do that anymore because there's an opportunity right now today with City MD in Las Vegas. If you're tired of feeling sluggish, frustrated with your weight, dealing with daily aches and pains, or just not feeling like yourself, it's time to take control. City MD in Las Vegas offers personalized wellness and weight management programs designed for real lasting results, but they don't stop there. CityMD also provides advanced pain therapy and primary care, giving you a complete head-to-toe approach to your health. One team, one plan built around you. More energy, less pain, better health, real confidence. And here's the thing. Appointments are filling up fast. So here's what you got to do. You got to stop waiting, and you got to stop putting it off. And you got to give them a call at 725-255-7246. That's 725-255-7246. At that point, our good friends Andy or Claudia will take it from there. Or you could go to CityMD PHP. That's CityMDPHP.com right now and schedule your consultation. CityMD. Stop waiting. Start feeling like yourself again today.
But you say that, but not everybody really acts that way. There's different levels of preparation, and I would say that, I'd say the young quarterbacks that I've been around, I think he has the upper hand on them in that area. Now he has to go do it in a live game.
Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak. Vinny, before you lose it, that was East Oakland Raider requesting ABBA. He said, I'm an old soul, guys, up on the text line. Please play the ABBA drop. And we are nothing if we are not of the people, by the people, for the people.
I just think that song needs to be retired as it relates to Fernando Mendoza and the Raiders. I like the song in general. I just, not when it comes to the Raiders or Fernando. It's just a little too whimsical for me.
Raider Sean up on the text line.
Not soccer.
Okay, let's take it easy. We don't need to throw strays
elsewhere.
Take it easy.
Yeah. It sounds like a soccer song to
You
me.
sound like a soccer song.
Running around in the grass and, frolicking in the grass. Come on. With butterflies and stuff.
Okay. Raider Sean says, good morning, gents. It's game day. I'm in need of some Raiders football after having to deal with these parents not following pickup line protocol. First week issues, I guess. Anyways, got some chicken in the crock pot ready for when I get home to shred. Throw some BBQ sauce on it and fill some sliders for the game day baby. God bless. Go Raiders. Raiders. That's a hell of a plan.
You know, the pickup line, by the way, would be a lot less of a deal to deal with if kids just walked to school. No, kids just don't walk to school anymore. You know, remember in our Clay? Am I right or wrong about that? I mean, I don't remember. Mass amounts of parents dropping their kids off at school. You either took the bus or you walked. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. Everyone's afraid to let their kids walk to school these days.
All right. Take it easy. Let's take it easy.
Walk with them.
Yeah.
Some
people might not have that ability to do so.
Yeah, I get it. But if you're going to the elementary school in your neighborhood, I mean, I don't know. I don't. It's absurd to me how many, and I don't know. I guess we're just so fearful nowadays of just letting the kids walk to school, which was a staple in our day. I don't know when that changed over, but it certainly did.
Funky Raider up on the text line says, good morning, my Funketeers. I'm excited for the game tonight because of the newness of the organization, and I trust in Kubiak and company. And, I was thinking about that on the way in, Vinny. Fernando is obviously the headline. Right? And it's impossible to have this conversation without Fernando because his fingerprints will be all over what we see and how things play out tonight, right? Like, we understand that. But if we could park him to the side for a moment, not that Raider Nation wants to, but just you park him for the side to the moment. Even if he wasn't there, which he is, and it's a good thing, there's still a lot of reason for excitement and things to look at in this preseason game and this preseason in general, right? Like, even if you just go to the other side of the ball, Rob Leonard, first time DC, I don't expect to see a lot of things we're going to see in the regular season. I just mean in terms of him getting comfortable. Is he going to be on the field? Is he going to be up top? What's that communication with Nakobe Dean going to be to the rest of the defense? How is Quay Walker now that he doesn't have the green dot? Is he truly freed up like he was talking about and feels like he's going to be used in a proper way? I don't know if we're going to see Max Crosby tonight. Likely not, I would imagine, if I were a betting man, but that's just me trying to read the tea leaves. But you look, is Kwity Paye the guy that they just paid? There's a lot of and we haven't even touched the secondary and all the youth that's been injected this offseason. So there is a ton to dig into, and it's almost it's almost unlawful that we'll only have one day on this particular platform to talk about everything that we saw tonight, tomorrow morning, and have to wait until next week. But you get my drift. There's a ton to dig into.
Yeah, and a couple of things. Number one, the Raiders do play the Cardinals this year, so you're probably going to see less of your stuff. For that reason as well. Not necessarily less of the players, but just kind of less of your concepts that you're gonna put in. Rob Leonard among them as the defensive play caller. But the other point I think is important because it would be one thing if you were saying, okay, the Raiders have the first pick overall, it's Fernando Mendoza, but everything else around them this is going to be a long way. It's going to be a struggle for him. Kind of worried about him, all that. It's not. I don't get that feeling about this team thanks to what everybody did this offseason, the work that got put in to really help this roster, and quite honestly, some of the draft picks of previous years, the Brock Bowers, the Ashton Genties, some of the defensive players that they've brought in. It makes, I think, and the coaching changes obviously as well. It just makes it a much better team that he's walking into. And for the time being, it's going to be Kirk Cousins. But projecting ahead, it's why when you say if you park Fernando Mendoza aside, there's many other things to talk about, is because there really are many other things to talk about. This isn't an empty cupboard. It's a cupboard that you look in there and go, hey, I could make this work. This looks pretty good in here. I got to add a few more ingredients or a few more things down the road. But it's not something where, man, there is nothing here but that one thing, and everything else looks terrible or just barren. That's not the case here, and so for that reason, there are a whole bunch of things to talk about and focus on tonight. And players that won't be wearing the jersey number 15.
702-365-9200. What's the headline tomorrow? How much is Fernando going to play? How much would you play him against the Arizona Cardinals tonight? Back out to the phones we go. Coulter in KC, welcome back.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
What's up,
there was
Coulter?
something in the air that night that felt so. I'm sorry, Vinny. I just had to. Hey,
Vinny's going to rip.
It is kind of a it is kind of a sissy soccer song. But anyway, I digress. Hey, the first day of school every year, we fist pump all the kids going to middle school, and you best believe I was there with all my Raiders stuff on. And so it is what it is. But, you guys, like always, hit it on nail on the head along with all the other callers. I think, we're going to see probably Fernando, couple drives after Kirk. He'll go till the half, maybe a little bit after the half, and then the rest of the guys. But, we already kind of know what Fernando's going to bring. I think we have a good idea, but I really want to see the offensive line. And for me, the secondary, I'm excited about it, but I want to see the D-line too. I want to see what these guys can do, the backups, when some of the other guys are starting to get tired, what the backups can come in to do. So, and for the headline, the Mandalorian is the future. So that's what I'm excited about, and I just can't wait. Just going to be driving around all day. Are you guys allowed to say where to get that one Fernando song that you keep playing? Because I have no problem pulling up to pick my kids up in that car pickup jamming that song. So I just can't find it
Apple
anywhere.
Music now? Isn't it, Clay? If I remember correctly, wasn't it on like Spotify and Apple Music?
I thought it may have been. I'll tell you what, we'll find out before the end of the show, Coulter. We'll pass that information along. But yeah, you might be able to get this and be the star of the show tonight in the pickup line.
Oh yeah, you know it. But as always, since it's game day, Raiders. There we go. Have a good one, guys.
That's Coulter and KC. T-shirt wizard. I love the energy on this show this morning. I absolutely love it. I love Raider Nation back out with us, joining in on the conversation. It's good stuff. How many hours away are we, Clay? How many more do we got?
Pace yourself, big cat. Impossible. You got to be at the stadium early. You're going to bring this unbridled energy.
Yeah, 1 p.m.
into the
call
stadium.
time.
Oh, boy.
1 p.m. call time.
Let's go.
More espressos on the way. I'll tell you that. 702-365-9200. We want to continue to get your calls. Get your thoughts up on the text line. 702-365-9200. How much is Fernando playing? How much do you want to see him play? Your thoughts, your calls next here on the Tailgate.
Let's dig in to the morning tailgate on Raider Nation Radio 920.
Yeah, I think the rookies are very close. They get way more meeting time than the vets do in the offseason, just by the ways the rules are set up. They live in that M hotel together. So I think that could be said about a lot of the rookies that, there's just a special bond. They stay here longer in the offseason than the veterans do. So those guys get really close, and we have a big rookie group that we need them to gel with each other and get close, and that's gonna, it's gonna pay dividends on the field.
Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak talking about the rookie class. 10 drafted, obviously more with the UDFAs. But it's a good note that they get more meeting times than anybody, right? And we obviously know why. They're rookies. But it's interesting when you have a group that size, how much that behooves the entirety and the totality of the team. Not just, from a camaraderie, not just from a cohesion standpoint, but from a learning standpoint. I really did think it was interesting. And I always personally find it fascinating when we find out like whose lockers are near who. We got little tidbits of that, but when Jermon McCoy and Zeke Masses were talking about each other, they're like, yeah, our lockers are right next to each other. And
cool.
And we are constantly working. And even Jermod said something to the effect when he met with us last week he goes, I think that's pretty rare. Obviously, he doesn't have any other context because this is his rookie season, but he's like, I think it's pretty rare when you have two rookies in the same position, drafted and not too far away from each other, next to each other in the locker room, and the same mindset of like, no, we're gonna be great. And I love hearing that, right? Like you got to go do it on the field, but all the right things seem to be taking place. And even if you go kind of not necessarily the opposite of that, Vinny, but we heard Malik Benson before the open practice said, he had a conversation with Zeke. I believe it was Zeke saying, look, we're gonna be friends here in the locker room, but when we're out on the field, it's me versus you. And I'm not friends with you out there. And he didn't mean it in like, an a-hole type way. He just meant it like, hey, this is how we're going to get better. We have to go hard at each other. And to have that kind of mentality, that perspective, that just type of viewing this early in their pro careers, is really telling to the maturity of this draft class really in totality, because we can say that for a lot of different guys, regardless of where they were slotted in the draft.
And if you're not doing that, you're doing each other a disservice. So, they're going to be teammates and they're going to be friends. But when you're at work, you're at work. That's just kind of the bottom line. Like, we could be friends at work, but we also have a job to do when we're on the clock. And practice is part of on the clock, and obviously that's a very important part of everybody's development, the team being better. And if you're not bringing it on a daily basis, just as you would in a game, you're not doing yourself a service, and you're certainly doing a disservice to whoever it is that you're lining up against.
Tech Raider up on the text line says, good morning, Tailgate. Give Cousins one drive and keep the starters in for Fernando for another 2 to 3 drives. Tomorrow's headline will read, the Nandalorian, after Fernando leads the team to at least 2 scoring drives.
Okay, all right. That's very specific, very detailed. I like having the offensive line, the ones, for both quarterbacks, Cousins and Fernando.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to see that, but I would really like to see Linderbaum with Fernando for, let's call it half a dozen plays.
Okay.
That's what I'd like to see.
You're not asking a lot.
Then again, nobody's asking me from inside the organization. But hey.
Looks good on paper, sounds good on radio.
Just win Wendy. up on the text line.
Whoa.
The ever rare text from Just Win Win.
And holy cow!
Agreed. Hi, guys. Good football morning. Never have I ever been actually excited for a preseason game. I'm not there. I'll be in Vegas for the whiners, and a big ditto for everything Raider Reggie said. Give Nando a big start after the half, so I'll be paying for the stupid ESPN to watch the game. Yelling in my living room, Raiders just win Wendy. She's fired up. Just Win Wendy's fired up, as she should be. Jason says, love you, 66. I love the love.
Thank you.
Love the love. But you didn't love AOC. What are you doing there, Clay? How dare you?
Spread it around.
Gage says, drive for Cousins. Finish the quarter with Fernando. Second and third with Aiden. Fourth for Jacob Clark. Got to get some tape on him. Gage was the one who wanted Marcus to dig in the disc. Gage just wants some tape on Jacob Clark. I love it. 702-365-9200. We'll open up the phone lines coming up in hour number 3. Get back to your text. But joining us next from the Las Vegas Sun, it's Case Keefer here on the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio. It's hour number 3 here on the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920. Vince Sapienza, Vinny Bonsignor, and Clay Baker coming to you live from Las Vegas here on a Thursday, August 13th, 2026. It is a game day, Las Vegas. The Raiders are back against another team, another jersey, for the first time this 2026 campaign. Raider Nation, you have brought the juice, the energy in hours 1 and 2. We need that to continue here in hour number 3 as we get you set for kickoff. 5 o'clock tonight at Allegiant Stadium against the Arizona Cardinals, because this is the next step for your silver and black. And here to help set the stage on preseason game number 1 is a man who no doubt will not overreact to anything, yet will overreact and right to everything that we see tonight. For the Las Vegas Sun, Las Vegas Weekly, Case Keefer back with us. Case, good morning. Happy game day to you.
Good morning. Yeah, happy game day to you all as well. It's an honor to be with you on such a big day. Thanks for having me. And one thing I know that would be overreacted to right now, though, is I just looked down and saw these beautiful pink shorts I'm wearing that Vinny would surely overreact. Luckily, we're not. You can't see me in person right now.
Well, I actually loved the look. I was just kind of wondering about it, so I was curious about it.
For those who may have missed, we were at training camp at the table. Case Keefer walked by in his stunningly pink kicks.
Salmon.
Magenta, maybe? Ooh. Maybe a mix of magenta?
It looks good on you,
I don't think it was just the pink shoes. I think he had an issue with the teal shirt to go with it, which I kind of agree.
It was the whole ensemble.
I know Clay and I are united on this, but these 6:30 a.m. wake up, and I have it easy. I live close to the facility, but these wake up calls to the training camp practices, I'm just throwing together whatever I can find. So he did have a point there.
No, it was, I wasn't going to just let it go, because Vinny just shook his head like, what is happening over there? So, Case, that we're back. We got the pink shoes back. We'll see what they look like tonight. But let's get to tonight, because, again, OTAs, training camp, preseason, it's all evaluation. It's all pieces of information you're using to formulate what the Raiders will look like in 2026. And while it is just another piece, feels like a bigger piece of the pie tonight more than most, because it is the first time Fernando Mendoza is taking snaps against another team in the NFL. And the question we've been asking today, quite simply, is what does his snap count look like? How much are we going to see him? If it were you, what does this QB split look like tonight in this preseason opener?
Well, my split would be strongly slanted in favor of Mendoza. I just think it makes the most sense. You don't want. It sounds like everyone's going to play, so you're going to get Kirk out there for a little bit. But he's his 15th NFL season or whatever it is. I might have that wrong, so fact check that one. But you've seen all you need to see out of him. You know what you've got there. I don't think he's going to take a lot away from the preseason. Mendoza's the guy that needs the reps, and you need to see what he's going to do against someone different, not just the same defense he's been going against in practice all the time. So I understand everyone will get in there, but I would have Mendoza in there at least like 2 quarters minimum, several series. I'm sure a lot of Raiders fans are with me and wanting to see as much of him as possible, but I'd have a tough time hearing any other way than you want Mendoza in there as much as possible tonight.
What do you think the headline will be about Fernando tomorrow morning?
Yeah, that's another good one. I think it's going to be positive. I think we've seen enough out of it, and he has progressed as training camp has gone on. It hasn't been completely smooth, but I think the headline will be Mendoza flashes promise in preseason debut or something like that. He looked good at the Tuesday Allegiant Stadium practice, and what have we known about the guy dating all the way back to Cal? He's kind of a gamer and rises to the occasion. I think he'll have some good moments. Not necessarily saying he's going to go out there and kill it and throw 3 touchdown passes and lead the Raiders to a resounding victory, but I think there will be at least 1 or 2 plays where you see, okay, this is what made this guy so decorated and accomplished so much that he has in the last several months.
How long would you like to see the ones on the offensive line go with Mendoza?
At least a couple series, and then maybe rotate some guys in. I honestly thought they'd do. Maybe I'm just too colored by last training camp, where it was probably too much, and just every day someone was in a different position. But I thought they'd do a lot more rotating so far than they have. It's pretty much been the one steady unit, with now, of course, Caleb Rogers getting in there a little bit the last several practices when he's been healthy. But I wouldn't mind if maybe you pull like Tyler Linderbaum and Colton Miller pretty quickly, but then keep the other guys in a little longer. Just see some different combinations. Maybe they just feel super confident with what they have, but I still have that curiosity of what would it look like with a few other guys in different spots.
Case, I know it's impossible to set aside Fernando Mendoza because, especially on the offensive side, that's going to dictate a lot in terms of what we see, who we see, and kind of what takes place. But if you could park Fernando for just a hot second, who are you really going to be focused on in terms of going up against another team, another jersey, an opposition tonight, and why?
I'm going to go with another rookie. I think we always can't wait to see the rookies on their first preseason game. And I think there's been some real flashes in this rookie class. I think a lot of people would say Malik Benson right away, but my guy's actually a different skill guy. I would say Mike Washington. I feel like he's not even getting enough buzz for how great he's looked. I really feel like we're setting up for this to be a little more of a split than we might have thought coming into training camp, with how I think that was around when Clint Kubiak said the thing about wanting to have Ashton Genty on the field as much as possible. I just think this is a safe space. I guess I can speak my truth. I think you take just the running portions. Now, granted, there's a lot more to being a running back. I think Washington has looked just as good, if not better, than Ashton Genty when he's gotten the ball handed to him. Now, Genty's really made his difference in the passing game. I feel like this training camp, they're throwing to him all the time. He looks great there, and they obviously trust him a whole lot more with pass protection and those things. So I want to see how Mike Washington pass protects. I want to see if he can hold on to the ball. I know turnovers were a problem in college, but just running ability, I've been blown away by the guy. So let's see if he can put it all together, and if he can be a guy that you can rely on behind Ashton Genty. I can't wait to see what he does against a different defense.
We're expecting to see some of the starters. I would imagine we're going to see Tonka Hemingway, and to say he's been a star of training camp would be an understatement over there on the defensive line. Any expectations for how much we do see of that first team defense? And I would imagine he's going to get some runs. So what are your expectations of Tonka Hemingway tonight?
Yeah, he's a guy I feel like we should see a lot of. I think if we were keeping track of the stats of like would-be sacks in training camp, I think that Hemingway would be number 2 clearly behind Max Crosby. It seems like every day he has one where you say, okay, he's probably got a sack if we were hitting quarterbacks here. So he's another guy maybe you want just a little bit more sample size, see if he can make it happen against someone else. So it's kind of similar to the offensive line. I think some of those the top line guys on the defense that what you have probably won't play all that often. They'll get on the field and they'll call it a day. Who knows if we'll even see Max, but I think Tonka will be probably a few more series, and as good as he's been, you probably just want to see it against another team too, just see if he can keep stacking what it seems like has been an ascent for several months now. You hear so many guys on the team talk about how much work he put in the offseason. It certainly seems to be coming across now.
And even going into the linebacker core, when you see number 7, Quay Walker, working with number 17, Nakobe Dean, that looks right. That feels right. And it looks like that's a group that you don't have to worry about. But I would also like to see a little bit more from the Bergs, Lindenberg and Eichenberg, and what they can do as far as like bringing some sort of solidified stability to that position group. What did you see so far from Dean and Walker?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the linebacker, it doesn't seem like a huge question on paper just with the money you gave to Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker. And it seems like they play so well off of each other. And I've really been impressed with Nakobe Dean, seeing him up close and just the leadership he provides. I think he's going to have a great year just as long as he can stay healthy, but there's always that asterisk with him. He's had such a tough time staying on the field. And if that happens, it's just, do they have the linebacker depth to take an injury to any of these guys? I know Quay Walker's kind of been the opposite. He's been an Iron Man early in his NFL career, but the first string linebackers you look at and you say, okay, we feel really good with this. The backups, I think we still just need to see a little bit more. Can Cody Lindenberg, Tommy Eichenberg, or the combination of those two be the same guy? I do think Lindenberg looked very good in practice, and I've seen him rotate in with the ones a little bit. I know he had an interception on a tip ball at Allegiant Stadium the other night. I feel like it's been a big ascent for this guy dating back to last year. So it's time to find out if some of that is real, because I do think if we're going to get nitpicky and list the concerns, I do think linebacker depth is probably one that's up there for the Raiders right now.
It's Case Keefer with the Las Vegas Sun, Las Vegas Weekly. Case, I started the show today by saying, anybody who calls in, text, and you can miss me with this is just a preseason game, it doesn't matter. Scoreboard-wise, sure, yeah, it doesn't matter. But this is an important game for a myriad of reasons. We've talked about the newness of this roster, but I want to ask you kind of the flip, the inverse of the reason. Who needs to treat this like this is their last game? Who on the Raiders roster has to treat this like the Super Bowl for whatever the reason may be?
I mentioned Malik Vincent earlier, just how great he's looked and how much buzz he has. Who's he threatening with that? I think it might be Jack Besh. I know Besh has had some good days in training camp. He's had, I think, more where he's looked kind of ordinary, struggled to create separation. If we're talking about fighting for starting spots and competition breathing down your neck, I just feel like Malik Vincent's right there. And to me, Naylor and Tucker are going to be big parts of the offense. They're kind of more secure. I actually think before we had the weird thing where Naylor missed a day and maybe been a little banged up since then. Who knows? I thought he looked phenomenal early in training camp. I don't think enough people have been talking about him necessarily for how good he's looked. But just that third receiver role, and I think all these receivers are going to move around a lot. Just to me right now, Malik Vincent has clearly looked like their third best. I think they probably had bigger plans for Jack Besh. So there's probably a better answer, but Besh is the first guy that comes to mind that I just think as a second-round pick last year, you really hope to see something in the preseason out of him.
Are you anxious to see Jamad McCoy?
Yeah, a little bit. Certainly, I think he. Yeah. Both those rookies. I feel like probably to no fault of his own. I mean, we know what he's gone through and how long it's been since he's been on the field, but it does feel like Zeke Masses has kind of stolen some of his buzz. I mean, if there was a rookie cornerback we were talking about going into the training camp, even with what Masses showed in mini camp and OTAs, it still would have been McCoy. But it seems like Masses made a few more plays now, and maybe that's a little bit more crowded of a spot than we saw. But we still know McCoy has all the skills to make it in this league, and obviously what was a huge prospect. I still think he's going to be part of the defense, but maybe playing a little more behind than I would have anticipated going into the first preseason game if you told me he was going to be healthy and practicing virtually every day. So we'll see if he can make up some of that ground now when the games start.
How important is it for you to be watching special teams and to see how far they've advanced, especially who is going to be the place kicker between Matt Gay and Matsuzawa?
Yeah, for better or for worse, I think the place kicker competition got a little more interesting after Tuesday, where they both seemed to struggle. Matsuzawa specifically, I think one of those from 50, he just was nowhere close. I think Gay doinked one off the upright, so maybe you give him a little bit of a reprieve for that. But I think I've joked with you guys too that I'm never that locked into the special teams battles as much as I should be. But then at Allegiant Stadium, seeing them both struggle the other night, you're like, okay, who's going to take the reins here? I do think Matt Gay, for the length of camp, hasn't been bad. He's made most kicks that I've seen. I would think he certainly has a leg up right now. I know everyone's rooting for the Tokyo Toe, but we'll see if he can turn the tide here in the preseason.
A leg up, he says. A leg up, Case Keefer.
No pun intended.
And
you are good at special teams.
That's the beauty of it. It wasn't even intentional. It's just innate. It's just the seeds are planted. Case Keefer of the Las Vegas Sun, Las Vegas Weekly. Case, we appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you. Any guesses on the media meal?
Ooh, I have. I shouldn't. I don't know if this was off the record, but I heard that the media dining is going up a notch this year. So I heard it's going to be improved. So we'll see. Maybe they get us some pop, maybe some steak and lobster tonight. That'd be nice. Aiming high.
Hey, I love it. Case Keefer. I can't wait to go up there and Clay and me are like, where's the steak and lobster?
Yeah, where's the drawn butter? Where's the horseradish?
Case, we appreciate you. We'll see you tonight.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Case. Good stuff.
Could you imagine a preseason game? Just steak and lobster up there. Carving station.
Linens. Silverware.
Tablecloth and napkins.
Yeah.
Vinny, that fruit is there.
Yeah, that was a great
sent
picture,
it to you.
by the way. Yeah, and looking forward to partaking in that many times this year.
702-365-9200 is the number. Appreciate Case Keefer for joining us. Let's see where I had a. Where did the text go? Oh, there it is. Raider Reggie back with us on the text line. Clay, causing mischief.
What?
Come on, family. Thought you all had my back. This could be my first nationally known, globally known song. You got to send it to any and everyone with the Raiders franchise. We're in charge of the marketing now. We're in charge of the distribution, Clay.
I don't remember signing those papers. If you want us to be in charge, we can. We got to get that song out to Coulter so he can, he can just destroy all those Chiefs fans.
Bingo. That's true. In the pickup line. In the pickup line. Hot Sauce Raider says, good morning, gentlemen. Major disappointment this morning. Is this show not called the Morning Tailgate? I fully expected you gentlemen to be broadcasting from J-Lot, throwing back a few. LOL. Hopefully Fernando puts on a show, puts the league on notice. Go Raiders. You don't think we tried? You don't think we've been trying to do it? Could you imagine doing the show in J-Lot?
That'd be wonderful. We'd be up to our chin in tri-tip.
You think I get distracted doing the show from training camp? Boy.
Oh, there'd be
playing cornhole.
There'd be cornhole games. There'd be a beer bong. Somebody chasing you around with it,
I'd be chasing them.
Right.
Hey,
Let me see if I can go whip that up real quick.
It's my turn.
Feels so good when it hits your lips.
He already got 2 turns. Raider 66 back with us. He's changing his headline for tomorrow. Vinny, did you give us your headline for tomorrow?
I did not. I am
still brewing.
No, yeah, I'm getting advice because
You actually have a headline too, right?
We do, yes, and I'm not going to predetermine that. We don't do that, but somewhere along the line we'll get that figured out.
Sure. I was trying to figure out the equal, like on TV, because obviously we don't have headlines because we're talking, but like our tease. When I tease, like before the commercial break, before I do my full report and segment, that is basically the equivalent of the headline. Like I just say, I use a lot of alliteration. So who was it 66 who likes alliteration?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm like 66. I try and get as much alliteration in the tease as possible. So that would be my headline. So yeah, I'm actually kind of workshopping.
I was just thinking. I was just thinking, like, if it was the headline, you would have obviously a picture of Mendoza in exultation and just the words "a new era." There it is.
I'm gonna write that down for tonight.
Print it.
I like that. I like era, and I would say it era, not era.
Era.
66 changed his headline. He says, "I hope it reads phenomenal combination." Or no, sorry. It's just phenomenal. He says it's a combination of Fernando and phenomenal.
I like
The
that.
headline is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Vinny, what do you think about that one?
I like it.
License
yes,
it.
definitely.
All right. Just Funky Raider says, for the love of baby Jesus, please no ABBA.
Hanging and banging all night long.
All in caps, by the way, from Funky. 702-365-9200. Raider Nation, we're not done. It's still game day. We want to hear from you. Let's fire up the phone lines one more time and get your answers. How much Fernando do you want to see? How much do you think we will see? What is the QB split? And are you in the corner of Gage? That we'll see some Jacob Clark in the fourth quarter tonight against the Arizona Cardinals. 702-365-9200. And to help us in our jobs, bonus question, what is the headline going to read?
What's your advice? What have you been speaking to him regularly?
Yeah, I talk to him all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I ask questions about what he needs in terms of his development. And again, I see it as three different buckets. There's a physical development, the actual skill, throwing the football, dropping, how you're training, how you're eating, all the physical parts. There's the mental part. What do you know about the plans? What do you know about all the plays, your reads, your drops, your footwork, the strategy? How can I teach you and develop you all the toolkits you're going to need to get us in the right play? And then the emotional part is, I think, always the touchy part about sports and athletes. You know, the emotional part of all of us, that one day we perform great and the next day it's still the same guy. We still are smart, but emotionally, we just don't feel that good today. Why not? You know, why can't we repeat great performance every day?
That's TB12, Raiders owner Tom Brady. I love listening to Tom talk about the mental of being an athlete. Because I think it gets lost, especially in today's age where everybody just expects you to be at your absolute best all the time, when in reality that's hardly ever the case, right? And so when we come in and on a day like today, Vinny, where we're talking big time about Fernando Mendoza for obvious reasons, and rightfully so, by the way. That is the headline. That is the talking point tonight. You know, there's a million questions you can ask that we are asking and have asked leading up to this moment. What does a good outing look like? What kind of command is he going to have? Can he make all the throws at this level? Will his timing be right? Can he be the guy? And again, you're not going to get every single answer tonight. We're not that naive to think that, and we've seen time and time again. But we have seen in past history that we've seen guys prove they are who they said they are, or guys think they are, right? And so this is that opportunity for Fernando. So you never want to make it bigger than it is. He's played in the biggest games you can leading up to the NFL. But this is the next big test for him. I have little worry in terms of him meeting that moment, right? Because we've seen it so many times in bigger venues and meaningful games for clubs, franchises, programs, etc. But I'm very curious to see how he meets the moment tonight.
Well, I think everybody is, and we're going to make too much of it one way or another. I'm venturing to say, but
you're right. No, you're right. You're 100% right.
That's kind of how the tendency of things. Carson Beck is already going to the Hall of Fame. Based on what throwing for 189 yards and looking pretty good in that Hall of Fame game. But look, you only get a first time to watch somebody for the first time at the next level, and this is that first time to date. And then there will be another time when he actually gets on a field in a real NFL game, and then he'll get his first start. So there's a lot of firsts to come. But this is the first, and so we're all excited to watch it. We're all excited to figure out what that's going to look like. My money would be on him pulling it off. It doesn't have to be at a high level, but like I said, I think it'll be a great step for Fernando if he goes out there and makes it look pretty easy and makes it look, kind of like he knows what he's doing. He's prepared for the moment, and he's going to excel in that moment. And it's not going to be too big for him, and we'll see. You just don't want to see, is some sloppy play and turnovers and communication issues at the line of scrimmage or not getting the playoff on time. Those types of things you definitely don't want to see. And so if he can conquer all of that and make it look pretty smooth, then I think it'll be a win for Fernando and the Raiders.
Jesus up on the text line says, I think tomorrow's headlines are The Empire Strikes Back with the rise of the Nandalorian.
It's a little wordy, but I like it. Disney's going to be all over us.
Snake Man has questions. Who won't be dressed tonight? Thinking of Thornton is out. Huge opportunity for E.J. Williams to make a push for X wide receiver. Raiders need a guy with length at wide receiver in the red zone. Obviously, we don't know who's officially in, who's officially out. Can't imagine it's good news on the Dante Thornton front. I believe it was Friday's practice that he exited with some type of injury, did not practice on Saturday, did not practice on Monday, was in street clothes Tuesday night. Yesterday was an off day in terms of on-field stuff. So remains to be seen if we see Dante Thornton Jr., but again, has not been what you want to hear on that front. In terms of E.J. Williams, I did see him, again, not very much. So let me reiterate, not very much, but there were a couple times I did see 88 with the ones during training camp. I don't know if that was a fill-in. I don't know if it was but make of it what you will. E.J. Williams has had a pretty good, solid camp, I would say. I would say he's one of those guys, Vinny, that I look at tonight as one of those games where he can really, make the leap from, hey, you're having a pretty good camp to, hey, maybe we need to get you some more run.
And I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name of the very top on who you were talking about.
E.J. Williams.
Oh, yeah. I would think he's somebody that at the very least a guy that will be here on the practice squad. There's the numbers crunch at wide receiver. I could already name 1, 2, 3, 4 guys right now that I think are shoo-ins to make the team, and that's maybe even 5. And so how many more do you want in terms of the 53-man roster? Practice squad, though, is extremely important, and we've seen guys move up and move down through that. So I think it feels like that's kind of where it might be headed for him. But tonight's a big night for him to really make a case for himself one way or another.
Just as important as we talk about guys who are going to carve out starting roles. I mean, E.J. Williams is probably more of the practice squad variety in terms of being that guy here or making a name for himself for somewhere else. But, the connection that he had, obviously, with Fernando is one that has been noted many a time. But he's, again, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about opportunity across the board for a number of reasons, whether it's starters, whether it's depth pieces, rotation, practice squad guys, or, again, showcasing to find a better landing spot for them elsewhere, regardless of how that shakes out for the team. Jerry on the text line says, LFGO, it's game time. Been flying all week. Kubiak Mendoza era starts now. Gurdeep on the header says commitment to excellence with a picture of Fernando throwing that first touchdown.
Okay, I like that. I like Jerry, the El Paso Raiders, got the Raiders flag by the weight set in the garage.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he's pumping some iron.
That one?
Yeah. Click on that picture. He's got the.
Oh, that's a nice setup.
Yeah, he's got the setup.
That's a legit workout system.
Yeah,
or weight room, I should say. Workout system.
It's a good one.
It's a system.
Yeah,
good stuff, Jared. I like that. Salsa Sal. Beer bong, salsa, and chips. Salsa. Oh, an exquisite smell. Now we're talking about a morning tailgate party in Lot J. But Oakland style.
Okay, I like that. That is the whole enchilada right there. That does have a good energy, good smell, too. That's a fine aroma. Wish I could have like a car air freshener with that aroma.
Chips and salsa are, okay, Let me finish. Okay, Vinny, take it easy. Chips and salsa are a good tailgate food, but it's also a difficult tailgate food. Does that make sense? Because like if you're tailgating, just having chips and dip, like a communal dip, I mean, you got
to make it work.
I get territorial, and I feel like I need my own dip. Like if that's the case, maybe that's selfish of me.
No. You make enough dip, and you put like little buckets for people like you who needs to have separation.
Well, I need a big one because I don't want to have to keep going back to the well. Because I can't stop once I start.
Are you territorial? Like if other people join into the salsa, you're like, well, I don't want it anymore. Other people are going to eat.
No, I'll just get more aggressive with it, and then I'll have more than I actually want just to assert my dominance.
This is a guy who loves chips and salsa. And this is a guy who's told me if you have more than 4 chips during a chips and salsa appetizer, you have now eaten a full tortilla.
Yeah, that's what I read.
I think about it every day.
And it's a problem.
Yeah.
That's because I eat a lot of chips.
I love chips and salsa.
Vinny, are you still eating chips?
I am not. I am not.
All right.
Yeah, no.
Well, somebody's got to eat Vinny's chips. I might as well do it.
I'm on the watermelon, the pick watermelon.
Man.
Is that word? No, pineapple. It's the pineapple.
I still don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is. It's delicious, though.
It is pineapple. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
Back to the text line.
I get thrown off because it has the color is watermelon-ish, but everything else is pineapple-ish. So
I feel like the color makes it taste even better than it probably is.
Yeah, I don't know what they're putting in there, but it's something.
Probably illegal. John up on the text line. Morning, fellas. It's game day on a Thursday, and we're about to kick off our preseason. Confidence is high. I repeat, confidence is high. Anxious to see how the offense looks out there. Anxious to get to see Malik Benson, who I've heard so much about in camp. Looking to see him become our wide receiver 1. Anxious to see this defense with the best linebacking group I've seen in years. Cornerback, defensive back looks good. Tonka looks like he might be that D tackle we've been looking for. I'm most excited about our new head coach, Mr. Business. All business, all the time, no BS. I'm glad somebody in the OTAs was willing to get in Max's face and let him know it's not all about him. It's about the team. I think it's about running Let's try that again. I think he's been running wild the last several off seasons, showing how he can dominate our offensive linemen who are ranked 32nd in the league. Maybe that's why we've had so much struggles getting our offense rolling, because haven't had the cohesion in the offseason programs. But this year, feeling different as a new sheriff in town, and his name, Clint Kubiak. Let's go, boys. Football time. Let's go, Raiders.
Whoa.
How many topics did we just hit in that text message?
That was like General Patton giving a call to war. That's
also,
good.
A perfect example of the reasoning of why there's excitement. He didn't even mention Fernando once in that text.
Oh, my God.
That's the beauty of it. That's why I think today is as exciting as it should be for the nation. Breath of fresh air. We've heard that a few times during training camp. Feels breath of fresh air starting tonight. Vinny, on the defensive side, is it Jermod McCoy for you that the eyes will be glued to, or where do your eyes go on the defensive side?
Actually, kind of all over, and it depends on who's out there. If the starters are out there, I really am going to be keying in on the linebackers, Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker, if they're out there. But Tonka Hemingway, as we talked about, not quite sure if Max is going to be out there. But I do think, just the defensive line in general, what that rotation might look like, the interior of the defensive line, how that looks. I think that's going to be, if you want to stop the run, to me, it's got to start right there. So, I think that the run game defense success is going to start at the interior of the defensive line. So, how are they holding up? And then, yes, for sure, I want to see Massis. I want to see Jermod McCoy. I want to see Traden Stukes. I'm really curious about those 3 young secondary members and how much progress they've made since seeing them in rookie minicamp and OTAs and whatnot, and then training camp, and now what do they look like as they step on the field for the first time as NFL players?
And I like to kind of just little portions you see of what Rob Leonard was able to do. He obviously wants to make sure there's good communication out there. I'd love to see that between all phases of the defense. And also, sometimes when it looks like he's going to have a safety blitz, it's a disguise and guys are falling back into line. So I want to see how aggressive he wants to look and what he wants to show, at least. Obviously in a preseason game, not too much, but how many different looks will we get from Rob Leonard's defense? That's what I'd like to see. What are the upgrades and what are the new identity of Rob Leonard and how he wants to go forward beginning this week?
Yep.
Yeah, and I think
go ahead.
I think tonight again they do play the Cardinals and they're not going to show a whole lot of cards, but what I think a staple of a Rob Leonard defense is going to be about is something that we should be able to see or hopefully you see tonight, and that's uncommon hustle.
Shocking
good tackling.
effort is, I think, the verbiage they use.
Shocking effort. There you go. Attention to detail, shocking effort, good tackling, physical, aggressive. Even when the game plan is vanilla, which I would expect it to be tonight, you should be able to see those things. And if you are seeing those things, that's a pretty good sign for a first preseason game.
Really want to see a takeaway or two. Right? Like for all the reasons on the offensive side for Fernando going out and doing his thing, that would be cause for excitement. I mean, just how much would just a couple takeaways on defense? I don't care it's the Cardinals. I don't care it's a preseason game. Just to see the Raiders defense get their hands on the ball.
Mm-hmm. And going the other way with it, that would be that would draw a crazy response from everybody.
I think it would.
Yeah.
I think it would. And I think it would be impactful moving forward. Just get your hands on the ball. Because Joe Woods talked about it, Rob Leonard talked about it the last couple weeks. We need to get our hands on the ball, and when we do, we need to keep it. Like Joe Woods talked about, the PBUs have been picking up in training camp for the DBs, which is great sight to see. But he wasn't happy with that. He's like, PBUs are great, but let's start taking the ball away. That's what we need. We need to get the ball back to our offense, and that's going to be the mark of a good defense is can we get the ball back to our offense? I think that would really be as I don't know about equally impactful as Fernando balling out, but I think it would be pretty close. 702-365-9200. We'll get your final thoughts here in the final sit down, but not before Clay has a gift for you.
702-365-9200. It's the number to call if you want tickets to see the ex-ambassadors over at the Sahara Pool Saturday, September 26, 21 and over. Tickets got to be picked up at Lotus Broadcasting. That could be you. Be caller number 9, 702-365-9200.
It is the final sit down here on the Morning Tailgate, Raider Nation Radio 920. Big thanks to our guests on today's program, the voice of the Raiders, Jason Horowitz, as well as Las Vegas Sun, Las Vegas Weekly, Case Keefer. But hey, I speak not only for me, but Vinny, Clay, Raider Nation, way to show off this morning here on the tailgate. That's what we've been missing. That's what we've been waiting for. That's how I know we're back, baby.
The audience is awake.
Love it. It's a game day.
Love
You
this.
should be excited. Hope springs eternal. Want to get to a
Come
couple.
join us tomorrow too, of course.
Yes,
we want your thoughts.
we're not
about
done. This isn't the good call, Vinny. We're not done after this, but let's make sure we get through our programming notes. Clay, I understand that Raider Nation Radio 920 might be off the air.
Yeah, but just locally here.
Just locally here.
Yep,
So if you
for
don't
a
hear
few
anything for a
minutes.
few minutes, don't worry.
Yeah, beginning at 10, it'll be all right. By noon, it'll be clear sailing.
No JT the Brick. Q Myers running his show from noon to 3, which bleeds into his pregame show with Raiders legend Lincoln Kennedy. Q and Lincoln will get you set for kickoff from 3 to 5, and then they'll hand it off to JT the Brick, Eric Allen, and Matt Millen.
Wow, think about that. Beginning at noon, all the way to the end of the game and post-game of the preseason. This is like 10 hours of Raider content live, beginning at noon here on Raider Nation Radio.
Matt Millen, the Hall of Famer, EA, Eric Allen, and JT on the call on radio tonight. Again, Hugh Myers, noon to 3, and then rocking the pregame from Allegiant Stadium with Lincoln Kennedy from 3 to 5. On the TV side of things, the voice of the Raiders, Jason Horowitz, will be joined by Rich Gannon, Kirk Morrison on the call. See right here, locally, Fox 5.
Fox 5 Vegas, and I expect to see you on camera a little bit
You'll
pre
see
and post.
a lot of it, all over Fox 5. So very excited for what today brings. So look forward to seeing you get all at Raider Nation. Looking forward to seeing you at Allegiant Stadium tonight. So that is the program as we have it leading up to kickoff. We, of course, will be back here on the Morning Tailgate tomorrow to react. And as Vinny put it correctly, overreacting to a lot of what we said. We'll try and put it in a box, though. Right, Vinny? We'll try and keep it...
Yeah. But whatever it is, whatever your reaction is, it is, and we want to hear about it tomorrow morning.
Bingo. So we've been asking, what are the headlines going to say? What would you be doing with one Fernando? Ty up on the text line says, I hope to see a couple drives out of Kirk, 2 quarters from Fernando, and I would like to see some Jacob Clark since he's from Missouri State. About 30 minutes from where I am. Okay, so that's 2 for Jacob Clark. Gage and Ty. You think we're going to see Jacob Clark tonight?
I was kind of like with you. The way you took it was like, if he's not getting training camp snaps, practice snaps, then I don't want to see him in a preseason game.
Yeah.
Not until number 3. Preseason week 3, that's fine.
Just when Wendy back with us. Hey there.
Hey, Wendy.
As Lincoln says, you can't make the club in the tub. So sad about Thornton. I thought he was going to be a big wide receiver one, now doubtful. The story is not yet written on one Dante Thornton Jr., but the hill is steep that he is climbing to get where he undoubtedly wants to go. Salsa Sal, oh, how about this for a prediction? We didn't even ask for predictions tonight.
Prediction? Yes, prediction.
Salsa Sal's got a prediction, besides pain. Greedy Vance, pick 6, calling it.
You know what? He's had some pick 6s, hasn't he?
Greedy's gotten his hands on the football quite a bit during training camp.
This is good. Okay.
And maybe not something we've talked a ton about for, because there's a lot of new in the secondary, a lot of reason for excitement. But Greedy has found himself in the mix in that nickel corner role, if you will. He's been getting some run behind Taron Johnson. Zeke Massis rotating a little bit there.
Hungry.
Trayden Stukes has been there as well. Fascinating to see what it's going to look like. Greedy Vance, number 22 this year. Remember, he changed his number. So if you're looking for Greedy,
Deuce.
Number 22 gets his hands on the ball. There you go. Vinny, final prediction?
I think it's
on
going to be a
anything.
good night. Yeah, no prediction on the score. Those games can get a little bit crazy at the end, but I think it's going to be a nice positive step for the Raiders. I think Raider Nation is going to be happy overall with what they see.
I like that. I like that prediction. Raider Nation's going to be smiling when they wake up tomorrow morning. I like that. Clay, final prediction on anything?
Yeah, I think we're all gonna be happy with Mendoza getting the ball and scoring. I like 2 touches out of Mendoza.
I like it. For Vinny Bonsignor, for Clay Baker, I'm Vince Sapienza. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Morning Tailgate. But again, make sure you stay all day on the flagship with the Silver and Black Raider Nation Radio 920 as we get you set for the preseason opener against the Arizona Cardinals tonight.